Glad to see you made it through in one piece, Ratchet. You must have quite a story to tell. Why don't you come back to the Phoenix and...
And what? Oh, god damn it, Sasha, I must know what you are thinking! Dang it, now we'll never know what Sasha will want us to do. But greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Ratchet and Clank 3 Up Yours Asshole, and today, we're gonna be getting into some hardcore multiplayer action as we see this really cool ship transition. Like, again, I really love the... God, I really miss it when games did this. Like, I mean, nowadays you probably just get, like, a giant loading screen, but Insomniac put the extra effort in, but they wouldn't really keep it that way, because I think starting with, like, the PS3 era, they just had generic loading screens, which kinda sucked, to be perfectly honest. I kinda miss this era in gaming, but again, as I was saying before, we are gonna get into some multiplayer action today, kids, because now we have a secondary mode of play known as the Siege gameplay. And again, the reason why I bring the multiplayer aspect is basically, this is a similar kind of stuff that you'd be doing in the multiplayer mode. Again, you'll be having like a bunch of different mission objectives, you know, turning bolt cranks, you know, just going after the base. Again, the main crux of all of these missions is to basically, you know, just push the Tyrannoids away from defeating the Galactic Rangers, because as you can see here, they seem to be dominating at the moment, so we gotta clear them out, that'll be mission 1, and do a couple of other things involving a few other facets, so, yeah. It's basically drive the enemy back, push them out, and take over their base and win. I don't know, like, I mean, one might call this just arbitrary expansion, but again, you are paid handsomely for your efforts. You get some really cool music as you're hearing right here, and what you've heard at the end of the other parts if you've stuck all the way to the end. Again, the Carvu Island theme is actually one of my favorites. It's really fucking intense and epic as shit, man. But yeah, now we've got to reclaim the hovership pad, which we'll be getting to concordantly in terms of how it controls, what it's like, and all the cool little stuff in between. But there is, well, there is a few things to tackle first. Actually, I'm kind of curious, actually, is Carvu Island one of the multiplayer maps? Or am I thinking of the Bakisi Isle? I think I might be thinking of the Bakisi Isle, because that's actually one of the main multiplayer maps that I remember playing ever so frequently back in the days when I used to play this with my friends. I don't know. It's just a fun time for me. Like, I mean, call this nostalgia bias if you must, but again, there's nothing about me that I can get to hate these segments. And bear in mind, these are also optional, so, like, I mean, you're not forced to do this at any point. But I mean, well, I mean, to a certain extent. There are some gadgets which you do kind of need in some of the later segments, but at the same time, though, it's, again, a lot of these sorts of things you can really just do as an optional kind of thing. I mean, I will say that the map, as we're seeing here, isn't really that inspired. Like, I mean, it's just a few stretches of land and the enemy base all the way on the other side. But again, as you can see in that little shield thing, the hovership is looking quite tasty right now. But yeah, if nothing else, this part's probably just going to be like a rambly, whatever the fuck sort of thing, where I just sort of talk about whatever. I will comment about on the level or missions whenever I see fit, but yeah, we're just taking things cruisy today. Take it easy, keep it sleazy, destroy those mission launches, the missile launchers immediately, because, well, they'll make your day a living hell, and, I don't quite know if I have any confirmed sources on this, but I believe they were also, done by, Tony Garcia, I think, who was the infamous Yeti designer guy from Ratchet and Clank 2, so, he's back, and he's back with a vengeance. Although, he did actually have a much heavier hand in Ratchet & Clank 3's development, and can say with certainty that aside from a few aspects, he has vastly improved in his programming skills, so good on him. Yeah, the next mission that I'm gonna have to do all the work for. And this... God. Excuse me. This is the hovership. Again, like, I mean, it doesn't work quite the same way that the ship combat did in Ratchet & Clank 2. Again, like, it's a lot more maneuverable. You can move up and down, left and right, you can fire, you know, those little plasma ball things. And again, it's basically just used for dogfights, and is actually one of my favourite modes of play in this game. The hovership is really responsive and easy to control, and some of the dogfights you get into is pretty exciting. You get to, you know, you get to dodge and weave out of a lot of shots. You can just do a bunch of different shit with this. Again, so it's quite a fun mode of play. It's again, I really like this. In the multiplayer mode, you can actually switch between two different positions. Again, if you have like a you know, a buddy with you. You can actually switch between jumping into the pilot seat and, you know, flying around and shooting the main guns, or you can have a pilot who, you can have like a gunner kind of character who can like toss bombs out and end up, you know, carpet bombing the area so if you know, have any enemies down there. So again, like, I mean, the multiplayer mode was pretty well thought out for a team that was made up of like 4 to 8 people, if I remember correctly. I suppose, what else is there to really say? Word of warning, don't actually go anywhere near the enemy base, because they do have those giant Gatling guns, as you can see down there, and well, they'll make short work of you both as Ratchet on foot and in the hover ship, because they will not relent. Yeah, so keep your distance. Well, you probably just see one laser firing off there, but it gets quicker, and it is quite dangerous. And I suppose to once again talk about it, like similar to Marcadia, you do also have the Galactic Rangers having a lot of banter, so I think it does cut down on a lot of the sort of repetitious nature of, you know, going through and doing missions. And at the same time, like, again, I don't know if this is just me being simple-minded or it's like a sort of like, you might not have noticed it but your brain did kind of thing, but I don't know, like, with the right amount of, like, contextual missions, or I guess even the progression, really, because like, how you go from the Rangers being, you know, on the breath of destruction, Ratchet coming in and saving the day, and pushing the Tyrannoids back until eventually conquering the enemy base. I don't know, for like, as lacking in context as these missions are, like, in terms of gameplay, you get a nice sort of progressive structure, and I guess in that small way, it kind of feels satisfying to complete these missions on you know, on top of the monetary rewards, so I don't really know what to say. It just makes these missions worth doing to me, and, you know, on top of the monetary reward, it just makes you smile. This hover ship mission, though, is one you're going to be a little bit more cautious with, and that's all to do with the little missile silos. Yeah, because of the fact that they can launch missiles really, really quickly, they can make short work of your hover ship, and you, if you decide to approach them on foot. Yeah, you really got to be on your A game, you got to take things slow, be very careful, and don't get too close, otherwise Ratchet is going to be a Ratchet sandwich. I have no idea, I just had Resident Evil on the brain recently. Probably because Resident Evil 8 was, well, at time of recording anyway, had a little bit more reveal to it, and especially with giant vampire boob lady, so yeah, that probably tells you when this was made. But on to more pressing matters, just take your time with this mission. This might be a little bit. So I suppose to also talk about something else Ratchet & Clank related, there would actually be some content from Ratchet & Clank 3, namely the ship missions. You probably noticed in the earlier parts where you could, you know, change the ship decals and change the structure of the wings as you could do in Ratchet & Clank 2. But yeah, initially ship combat was going to be in Ratchet & Clank 3 in a very similar manner to Star Fox, actually. Or at least in, to put it in Ratchet & Clank terms, what would have been very similar to how the space combat was handled in Tools of Destruction. And yeah, there was actually some cut dialogue where Ratchet attempts to flirt with Sasha about the whole thing, and she's like, yeah, whatever, homeboy, now get back to the Starship Phoenix and we'll have one nice hot steamy fuck. Maybe not quite like that, but yeah, there was a bit of cut dialogue related to that, and I have no idea why it was cut out. I guess, I mean, obviously I think the time crunch was a bit of a big factor into that, but yeah, you would have thought that the Star Fox 64 style of play, or at the very least for like the generic R-Wing missions rather than all-range mode, probably would have been easier to do than what they had in Ratchet & Clank 2. But even still, had it been in the game, I think I would have been a bit disappointed in it because it might have been a little bit more intense. I guess kind of like the gummy ship missions of Kingdom Hearts 2, but I don't know. I just don't see it necessarily being quite as good as it would have been in Ratchet & Clank 2, and even in that case, as you saw with the review, I had a lot more... I think a lot more could have been done with it, and the only game that I think really would do anything with it was Crack in Time, which did pretty serviceably. I don't really know, like, I think maybe mixing, like, the exploration of Crack in Time with Ratchet & Clank 2's, like, control setup, I think would be really cool, and, I mean, I have doubts that Rift Apart would ever do anything with it because of the, you know, the jumping between worlds mechanic, but I don't know, maybe for a future Ratchet & Clank game perhaps, who knows. And yeah, one of the Galactic Rangers bravely died, just electrocuting himself in the soccer, which, you know, maybe there is more to Nefarious' claims about robot oppression in this universe. I mean, at the risk of kind of bringing up some uncomfortable reality subtext, like, I mean, will this game get away with a lot of its like a lot of its parodial themes nowadays, or do you think people might take things out of context and end up, like, completely, I don't know, misinterpreting it in the way that our modern day internet video essay culture tends to do, so... I don't know, like, I mean, a part of me does think that Insomniac might get away with it because, hey, good game, Ratchet and Clank is for kids, but at the same time, though, like, I mean, there's nothing saying that it might have been video essayed to death by pretentious people with, like, furry anime waifu avatars with their arms crossed because it's a fucking serious video. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. What am I talking about? I have no idea, but anyway, it's now time for the final assault on the base, where the Tyrannoids are pointing out all the stops! They're going to stop Ratchet and Clank! And now I seem to be slipping into my Dr. Madnar voice with Snake! But yeah, this is pretty much the final assault. You don't have any more of those, missile things to deal with, and, also for some reason the Tyrannoids have this, like, orange stripy pattern to them. No idea. Is it, like, camo paint, or is it, like, a different breed of Tyrannoid? Who knows, really? Maybe it was just a texture fuck-up in something. Like, fuck it, they look sporty. Go off and march to your doom, Tyrannoids. But again, like, I mean, to also comment on the Gatling guns once again, like, well, we're not really there yet, but again, like, they are disguised by an energy shield, so you can't easily just go off and snipe them with the Fox rifle. You gotta wait until they're out and firing their payload of ammunition. But again, it's a pretty easy strategy of just jump and dodge from side to side and do your best to avoid getting hit, and by that point, yeah, take him down since the shield's down, and bada bing, you do the thing. Shield's down, and bibbidi bop, bibbidi bop, bibbidi bop, biggity biggity mac daddy, yo yo, whatever. No idea what the fuck I'm saying, just padding out for time. This is by far my favorite part of the song. I don't know, like... especially, like, in like, segments like this, David Bourgeois really does just shine in the soundtrack department. And I think especially in Ratchet and Clank 3, there's just a certain... there's just, like, a certain weight and intensity behind, like, a lot of the drums and, like, the music, really. It's... I can't help but love it, man. And, by the way, in the multiplayer mode, the Gatling guns are a much more difficult challenge to take down. They're nowhere near as easy as here, because this is done for story purposes, whereas in the multiplayer mode, it's done for, well, team-on-team gameplay. Like, there is no difficulty setting for that thing either, because it's still the early days of multiplayer back then, so, you don't really have any sort of, like, skill level tuner, which, you know, would have given you, like, appropriate matchmaking towards players of a similar skill level to you. I think a few games nowadays do that, but in 2004 that was kind of unheard of. No, I don't think Halo 2 would have had something like that either, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but alas, all the missions are done, the Tyrannoids have been thoroughly driven out of their homeworld, and balls thoroughly licked. Also, to comment a little bit more about the HD collection for Ratchet and Clank 3, again, like, I didn't want to look at the PS3 and versions of Ratchet 2 and 3, and this is probably one of the most nitpicky reasons, but I really just like the way that the helmet is, like, hovering above Ratchet's, like, head, like it's 2 sizes too big. Like, to the point where you can see his Ratchet and Clank 1 head belt kind of thing. And also, more to the point, that a lot of the graphical effects tend to be, like, a little bit fucked up and topsy-turvy whenever you look at it, so... yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm mainly sticking with the PS2 versions. Like, I mean, quality-wise, it could probably look a lot better, but at the same time, though, I refuse to, to get the HD collection. Like, I mean, in terms of gameplay, they're fine enough ways to play the game, but there's just graphical settings that just bug me. It's just... ugh. But anyway, on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
It was the biggest Tyrannoid you've ever seen. Big as a Star Cruiser and packing twice as much firepower. There was no escape. He was coming right at me. Closer, closer. Oh, what am I gonna do, right? Closer, even closer. Click, click. My blaster jammed.
No way! What happened next?
Yes, go on. We're all riveted.
So, this is the mighty Q-Force I've heard so much about. Pathetic! I could obliterate the lot of you, and they wouldn't even mention it in Supervillain Weekly.
True, sir, but you'll have done the fashion world an enormous service.
And as for you, Agent Clank, I have far grander plans for you. All right, Lawrence, you can turn it off now.
Oh, may I, sir? What a treat.
Al, come in!
Yellow.
Someone just transmitted a hologram onto the ship. I need to know where the signal came from.
Let's see. Backtracing the signal. Six-path alpha key encryption? Amateurs. I got it. It came from a facility on planet Dax. Accessing their computer files.
Planet Dax?
Aha! I found something suspicious. Patching it through now.
Tonight, we take a journey inside the enigmatic mind of our galaxy's foremost evil genius, Dr. Nefarious. We'll take a tour of this secret facility on planet Dax, home to some of the galaxy's most insidious superweapons, including the dreaded Rainbow Afrolyzer. Dr. Nefarious, we've all enjoyed your past work, but how do you respond to critics who say your latest galactic schemes are just more of the same?
I will annihilate them!
Lawrence, tell us a bit about this top-secret superweapon being constructed on planet Dax.
Well, super is such a strong word. For that matter, weapon may be a tad overdoing it. We do, however, have a lovely view of the ocean at sunset.
Is Dr. Nefarious poised on the brink of galactic domination, or is this super weapon just the latest in a series of maniacal pipe dreams? Stay tuned for more from Supervillain Weekly!
Whatever Nefarious is doing on Dax, it can't be good.
We'll check it out.
You're welcome.